Hello, and thanks for checking out Level. Today, we're going to review the feature called script-based monitors or custom monitors. What a script-based monitor is a feature that will allow you to go beyond the basic built-in monitors that are already here in Level. Let's look at an example. If I go to policies and I'm on monitor, so these are monitor policies, and I'm going to choose the policy called server monitoring. Here in the type column, we can see that I have a policy that's monitoring CPU, disk, memory, and connection, which would tell me the uptime of the device. And what we found is that our clients have been asking for additional monitor types. And so we've created a new type called a script based monitor. The idea here is that we can run a script, whether it be PowerShell or Bash or any other scripting language that we support, and be able to query something on the device. Then we can pull the values back from the output and determine whether or not we would trigger an alert based on what is returned. So let's jump into an example. Go to device here called server. And let's say that in this example, we want to determine if the Windows firewall is enabled. So first, let's write a script to find that out. First, we can run the command get net firewall profile. And if I run that, it's kind of verbose, but we'll see that there is field here for enabled and true. Now with Windows Firewall, there are three different profiles. And so we're actually seeing this for each of the profiles. If we cut this down a little bit to only pay attention to the enabled field, we will see that all three profiles are currently marked as true. And so this is great. This gives us output, and this gives us something that we can evaluate against a value that we can put into a monitor. And so the idea here is that we can use this script, and then if we see that the word false ever is put in the output, we now know that the firewall is disabled and we can generate an alert that will prompt a technician to look at this. So from here, we'll go to scripts, and I've already created this script, so I'll just pull it up here. I called it check Windows firewall, and we can see the exact same command is here. And we will also see that we're using PowerShell as the language, and we have a timeout of 100 seconds. So now let's go back to our monitor policy of server monitoring, and we are going to add a monitor here. Now, please keep in mind that we want to give this a useful name because this name is what will show up in the alert for the technician to respond to. So in this case, it's Windows Firewall is disabled. And I'm going to now choose Run Script. I can choose the severity. In this case, I'll pick Warning. Now I'm going to choose my script, which we named Check Windows Firewall. Now, we do have a test button here. If I click this, this will open in a new tab, a job, and the job will automatically have attached to it the script and the agents that are targeted by the monitor policy that we were just looking at. So let me go ahead and run this. And let me open this up. And as expected, we get the same output that we were running from the command line. So true in all cases. Go back to the monitor. And now we need to look at what the output is going to be. So we already know that it says true, true, true. And what we want to do is we want to trigger an alert if the output contains false. Now here we have a lot of operators that we can use, but in this case, the one I want is contains false. The run frequency, for the purpose of this demo, I'm going to keep this low and leave it running at once a minute. However, in a production environment, you may want to be careful that you don't run a script too frequently because it could cause a performance issue on the device where the script is running. So just please keep that in mind. The trigger count here will determine how many consecutive times the job will run when we see false in the output before it will create the alert. In this case, I just want to do it the first time we detect it. The rest of the items here are just the same as the normal monitor types, but we will go ahead and review these. I'm going to go ahead and enable auto resolve the alert if it's no longer applicable. That way, once the firewall is enabled, the alert will then be considered resolved. We could choose to run a remediation script. So in this case, we could choose a script that would re-enable the Windows firewall in the event that it was ever triggered that it was disabled. We could also choose to send notifications once the alert is triggered and once it's resolved. In this case, I don't need to send any notifications, so I'll leave these off. I'm going to choose add the monitor. All right. So let's go back to our device in the other tab. Now we have to remember that in this case, it's still showing true for all of the profiles. Let's now turn one of those off. I'm going to disable the private profile. So when I rerun the command, now we can see that one of them is false. And so we keep in mind that the script is going to run every minute, and then it's going to evaluate the output. And the output that it's going to evaluate is the entire payload. So it's not just looking at the last line or the first line. It's going to look at all the output, and then it's going to evaluate whether or not it contains the word false. In this case, the next time that it checks, it should trigger the alert because false is now in the output. So we'll give it a minute here and we'll see if our alert field up here changes to be 1. Okay, I can see that the alert has now triggered. I see a 1 up here. If I select this, we will see the list of all the alerts. And here's our alert. Windows Firewall is disabled. And it was on the device named server. And that came from the policy called server monitoring. And if I wanted to, I could drill into this device and begin to troubleshoot it if I wanted to. And in this case, I can go ahead and re-enable the firewall policy. And in just a minute, that alert will then go away. So that's it. We're really excited to see how our customers will use this new feature to be able to monitor just about anything on a device. And to assist you in that, we've been working hard at updating our community scripts to include script-based monitors. And so if I go to GitHub/level software/scripts, here's the community repo. And if I go under, for example, PowerShell and monitors, you will find that there are already some monitor scripts here that you could use just as they are or to help you get started in better using script-based monitors. Well, we hope this has been informative for you. We'd like to thank you for choosing Level. Please keep in touch. Let us know if you have any questions.